Welcome to the LongBox Paradox. I'm Dan, and it's another Thursday, which means another new comic day has passed us. And today I'm super excited to talk about Flash number 65 right off the bat. It is the last part of The Price by Joshua Williamson, with the art by Sandoval in this one, continuing the four-part arc. And I'm just going to start out right now saying Joshua Williamson freaking nailed the ending. Like, he set it up. There's a little deconstruction of the character, and there is some heart-wrenching moments in this. I'm not going to really try to spoil anything on this, or even I'm going to stay out of a lot of the big plot points, just that picks up where we left off with Gotham Girl. The powers are starting to make her sick and killing her. And there's a discussion between Flash and Batman, where Batman's trying to save her. The Flash, he's really struggling with what happened with Sanctuary with Wally, and him and Batman are still having their back and forth, and they're trying to save her. She's dying, and Iris just comes out of the rubble and just lays the hammer on Batman and also on Barry, and it guilt trips him. And Batman and him have this horrible back and forth where he says something about Batman bringing kids in and getting them killed, and Batman says, well, at least I don't forget their names. And it's a horrible, horrible exchange. And they kind of squabble a bit. And while this is going on, they are solving this Gotham Girl problem. There is an end to her, and it's not a negative ending, but the two of them have their issues. Flash runs off and finds this letter from Iris, where Iris breaks down what the title of this storyline, The Price. What is the price you pay, and who you save? And it's a couple of pages of this obituary that she wrote for Wally. And Williamson just nailed it with that. Just kind of like the letter that Bruce gets from his father in the button. I can't say enough about Williamson. I wish he was writing Batman, but then it would take him off this great run of Flash he's had. By the end of the story, you're kind of heartbroken for Barry. This letter that Iris writes him is just devastating. And as I mentioned before, Williamson just crushes this ending. And we go to an epilogue. And the epilogue is something, I don't know where it's going, what it's leading to, but Batman is investigating someone who they got to. They don't say who. Someone else shows up, and he talks about how he doesn't like keeping secrets. Just don't even trade. Wait, buy the issues. This was fantastic. Just every issue was well written, well designed, and it gets to this fourth act, I guess, and they just nail it. It's phenomenal, and I've been a fan of Josh Williamson's for a while, as I've stated in past episodes, and go out and buy his older work just to see where he started and how he's grown as a writer, because his growth as a writer has been phenomenal. I mean, it's probably always been there, but he's been getting these opportunities to handle these characters, and he's done a phenomenal job. And this book was just a 5 out of 5 for me. Go out, buy it, even trade buy it after you've bought the issues, but buy this storyline, because it's going to bounce back to me not buying Batman again, since it's going to shift back to King, and I want to make sure people are jumping on and getting on the Williamson train. It's I can't say enough. So now that I've completely just given all my love of a book, now I have to go to an image book that for many, many years I've been following. I love this artist, Matt Wagner's Mage. As many who have collected this book know, a lot of years usually fall in between volumes of this book. This series, The Hero Denied, I want to say it was 18 or 17 years before this series ran and now finished. Issue 15 came out this week, and I read it, and I don't know how I feel. Before this series started, I went back and read The Hero Discovered, The Hero Defined, and I started reading this book, and I don't know if it's just too much time passed between those volumes, but I didn't get the same feeling and joy out of this series as I did before, and I don't know if, well, I'm pretty sure it's more than likely a me problem that I've changed, and I don't know if I just became desensitized to this book just because it had been so long. I'm going to give it another read after the dust is settled, and so I have the issues, but I'm probably just going to buy it as a big trade because I have all the other ones as a trade and just give it one big read in a row. But the ending to this series and this issue, it was underwhelming, I guess would be it. I don't know what I was expecting, but what I got just did not satisfy me. And I know that's weird to say, and I've loved this series. I like most of Matt Wagner's work. I was late on this series. I had missed Discovered, and then when Defined came out, I really took to the Hercules character and Joe Fat. The art was fine in this issue. I can't put my finger on why it was. I don't hate it. It's just something, it didn't end satisfying to me, and I don't know how to put my finger on it. If you haven't read this series, go back and buy the earlier trades. I don't want to be the reason someone doesn't pick up these books, and even if you, for some reason, you don't want to pick these up, pick up Grendel. Oh, those Grendel books are awesome. They are fantastic all the way through, especially when we got Christine Spar, the second Grendel. That was a great run. I'd love to say more about this. Again, the art's fine. The storytelling through the art is fine. The writing's fine. It just, something just didn't hit me in the right way. Even we finally see the Fisher King, and I got nothing out of it. The Grackle have been the villains throughout the whole, and the Umber Sprite. I just, it didn't work for me. I'm going to give it another read through eventually, all in a row, all 3 volumes. But as for right now, I'm underwhelmed. I think I've said that way too many times in one sentence. So from there, I'm going to move on to a Marvel book that I've had a lot of fun with, and probably because I love the bad 80s movies, and none better those bad action movies or great bad action movies than Conan. And The Savage Sword of Conan is out, and Gerry Duggan does a great job of capturing the Schwarzenegger style of Conan in this. I really enjoyed it. It's a fun read. It's not something that you're going to get a lot of high concept out of, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you are a fan of those old movies, even the Robert E. Howard books, I recommend picking this up. It's just a lot of fun, and the artwork on the covers has been fantastic. Especially, I saw issue 3 has a great Dan Panosian cover that is basically Schwarzenegger on the cover. totally worth buying this book and reading if you are a fan of those movies, the books. It's just great. And I'm going to give a little spec tip now because I've talked about this book way more than probably most people would like to hear me talk about, but get on right now with Die from Image Comics. Number 1 has gone to a 4th printing. The A cover is now shooting between the $12 to $15 range. So this is the kind of book that you sit on. It is moving a little bit faster, going up in price than I expected. Some of the guys on Blowout forums that I talked to in the comic book junkie section, one of them being Indie Sports Cards, who I do a lot of dealings CGC books with, we had talked about this being a long-term spec, and it's going a little bit faster than I thought. Also, you got to put into focus now, only 28,000 sold of these according to Comicron. So take Batman, which sells about 90 to 100,000 books. So a quarter of what that sells is what sold of this book. Also, possibly a sleeper book on this series. Issue 2 only sold about 18,000 according to Comicron. It could vary a little bit because I don't know if they take into account reorders and such. So we kind of have to play with that a little bit. But just jump on this now if you can, while you can get it cheap. Not only is it a great read, but it's a great spec. Even the 4th printing of number 1, probably because each one the count goes a little bit lower of what they produce of it, so a 4th printing might have a low print run, which may make it rare. It happens every now and again. So keep that in mind. Going from there now, I'm going to start talking about some covers that I was digging. Batgirl 32 came out this week, and Derek Chu strikes again with another fantastic cover. I like his covers are a little busy. There's a lot going on. Actually looks like a little bit of action going. He's an artist now that I'm going to be following and buying. I've really dug what he's put out so far. Wonder Woman 65 came out with another Art Germ cover, which actually looks like it's reused art from one of his art books a while back, but I could be wrong. Still digging it, still buying it. And then Alex Ross came out with the cover of Captain America 8, and Ross has been killing it with the Immortal Hulk covers, and now this. This cover was pretty powerful, and I had to pick it up. And another favorite of mine this week was Action Comics 1008, which feels weird saying 1008, but they're there, and Jeff Deckel did the cover for it. Something about it just drew me in. I really liked it, so I had to buy it. And the cover that confused me the most this week is an artist that is a legend that I loved growing up. And Detective 999 had John Byrne on the cover, and it is just not a great cover. I did not dig it at all. Just did not sit well with me. Just, this is a legend, and that cover is just so damn underwhelming. And it kind of depressed me a little bit because I expect a lot better out of John Byrne. And maybe I shouldn't at this point, but I just do. There's also another cover that it's going to be a ghost for a while, I think. There is a Perel cover for Marvel Comics Presents #1. It was a 1 in 50, and honestly, I don't know any can't think of any retailers that would order 50 of this book. This could be one of those covers that in a couple of months is going to be highly sought after. Perel's covers so far I've really enjoyed. He's got a style that I dig. This one, though, I got a bad feeling it's going to be a $100 book real soon. If you can find it cheap. I don't think you will, but it might be one to stash away. Well, with that, I've talked about a lot of things. I'm going to also recommend everybody watch Umbrella Academy. I watched it. I've liked it. I dig it. I think if you are a fan of comics, you will too. And also Deadly Class, great comic, great TV show, great creator. Buy it, watch it, just do it. Don't hesitate. Run now, or stream it somewhere. Also, I'd just like to thank everybody taking the time watching this. I'd greatly appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Every little bit helps growing the channel. I have no idea at any point what I want this channel to be. This is just a hobby. But I've gotten some great feedback from people, and I'm going to keep doing it because I kind of weirdly enjoy this. I like talking about comics. I like talking about horror movies. So I just want to thank you again, and to all the Wednesday shoppers, happy hunting, my friends. Good night.